How is it possible to win or lose that argument of how much institutional racism there is that's rooted in slavery? Is it a winnable?
It's an unquantifiable argument, and I'd like to apply some shortcuts to some of this. The following are, for instance, all. Let's take the one that's most often cited. If a white person is walking down a street in America and they see a group of young black men coming towards them and it's late at night and they cross the road, is it because of slavery? Is it because of institutional racism? No, it's because they've made a calculus based not entirely on unfounded beliefs that, given crime rates, it's possible that this group of people might be a group of people they don't want to meet late at night. That's an ugly fact, but as crime statistics in American cities after American cities bear out, it's not an entirely unreasonable one. It's not reasonable every time, obviously. But is it attributable to slavery? It's a stretch. If you're in a city like Chicago, where the homicide rates shot up in the last 2 years, albeit again, as always has to be remembered, mainly black on black gun violence and knife violence. Nevertheless, if you're in a city like Chicago and you make that calculus I've just suggested, the cliched one, the street late at night, there are other factors other than a memory of slavery that kick in. And I'm afraid it's something which people don't want to particularly acknowledge in America for obvious reasons, because it's the ugliest damn debate in the world. But I was actually just writing in my column in New York Post today about a very interesting case that's sort of similar, which is the question of obesity in the US. As you know, America's the most overweight country in the world. America has, I think, 40% of the population is obese in medical ways, and the next country is a long way down. That's New Zealand at 30% of the population. So America's a long way ahead. Why, during the coronavirus era, when we know that obesity is the one clearest factor that's likely to lead to your hospitalization if you also get the virus, why did almost no public health information in America focus on obesity? 80% of the people who ended up hospitalized in America with coronavirus were obese. We locked the schools when there was no evidence that the coronavirus was deadly for children. We all wore cloth masks when there was very little evidence that this was much use in stopping the spread of the virus. We had massive evidence about obesity being a problem, and we never addressed it. Why? Is it just because we worried about fat people? No, it's actually because about fat shaming, as it were. No, it's also because to a great extent it's a racial issue in America as well. And actually I quoted this new publication from the University of Chicago, as it happens, which makes that claim explicit. It says the reasons why people have views that are negative about obesity is because of racism and slavery. This is what everything is drawn back to in America. Anything you want to stop, you say it's because of racism, it's because of slavery. How about it's actually because you mind the hospitals getting clogged up, you mind people dying, you mind ethnic minorities disproportionately dying, and you like to say something about it. Once again, as in everything in America, it's cut off by some poorly educated academic saying it's about slavery. So we're really not, I mean, this requires a kind of form of brain surgery to perform it on a society, probably one that's not possible without killing the patient. And it's being done by people who are wearing like mittens